Hey, good morning. Hello. I'm sorry, good afternoon. I spent most of the morning with the grandchildren again, the youngest ones, 3 and 6, and that's a handful. And it's very, very active, and it really puts a smile on my face as I get hugs and everything else from them. Hopefully, you've enjoyed that same feeling. If not, at least from your children. This is Dr. Ken Muich, Stetson Chiropractic Clinic and the Fibromyalgia Wellness Center. And we're going to be talking about a subject today again that is related to, just about anybody that's had any kind of a health problems whatsoever, especially those that have had accidents or injuries whatsoever, because it throws your balance off. And you're going to find out in my discussion today that when your balance is thrown off, it can affect you in a number of different ways. Everything from strokes and cardiovascular to obviously falls that can lead to fractures that from which you might not ever get out of a hospital or a home center as far as that's concerned. The balance is involved with a number of different things. The interesting thing about it is that it's a skill you can actually maintain and lose or recapture, believe it or not. So it's not one of those things that's gone, gone, gone. It's not at all. Matter of fact, you can lose it, but then you can, like I say, regain it if you do the right things. Now, falls related injuries are getting to be an epidemic, as a matter of fact. You don't look where you're going. People are looking at their cell phones or reading different things. It's a hurry type of situation. Matter of fact, it was humorous, but maybe not so humorous when people literally were working on their cell phones, walking into walls or walking into actual water fountains and things of this sort, and then they turn around and then they sue the owners of the place because they didn't put up enough signs. Well, if you're actually looking at your phone, it doesn't make a difference if you had a phone or a sign or not. You're looking at your phone and it wouldn't make any difference what you were looking at. You'd still run into certain things. But if you want to have a funny situation, go to the airport and just see how people, my goodness, it's fascinating again just to see how people just kind of lose themselves on their phones. And many of them are just playing games. I work out regularly, and it's fascinating to see how people just cannot stay off their phones even for an hour. I mean, they have to have them attached right onto themselves. They might miss something. Oh my goodness, unless it's death-defying. Now, the problem with this is that as we evolve, as far as age is concerned, seniors, it's one of the leading causes actually of injury and death, and that is a poor balance and falls. 1.5 million seniors are treated in a hospital each year, emergency room, and 400,000 of them are actually hospitalized from that. Now, balance involves a number of different things, but the number one thing is eyes through the brain. The brain will allow you to see certain things, but it's also extremely important for balance. Over 50% of seniors with hip fractures never return home because of their falls. They end up in a nursing home or care facility where they actually then pass away. We've had a couple of friends of ours, mature individuals, that did that. Now, it could be they slipped and fell, or it could be because of age, osteoporosis, and it's very common to have a fracture of the hip before you even fall. Then you fall because of the fracture, and that makes it even worse, whatever you land on. So it's hard to tell what occurred. Did the fracture occur before you fell, or was it just because of balance? Many times people are very, very active. Matter of fact, there's so many of my patients that are very, very active at their age. I remember growing up, when they hit 60s, 70s, 80s, it was rocking chair city. As a matter of fact, they didn't do a lot other than maybe putz around the yard and maybe go to store. Other than that, that was it. But today, we've got seniors that are playing tennis and golf and racquetball and all sorts of activities and staying very, very active. Now, it's very, very important also, as a matter of fact, the last time I talked was on posture. Posture is extremely important, especially for balance again, because if you're, again, head is forward, as I mentioned to you the last time, that will throw you off, and then you're leaning forward anyway, or leaning to one side or the other. As a chiropractor, we're constantly seeing people with bad sacroiliacs that come in a clinic, and also falls. It's just a very, very common, like I said, common condition that people have a tendency to be so active sometimes that they fall or they trip over something, maybe even a little ledge on a sidewalk that's raised up. Bingo, all of a sudden you fall down. I had a couple of patients, a mother and a daughter, who were walking their dog, and it was after a rain, and they were on grass, and their feet came out from under them. Both of them ended up landing on their backside and also on their heads. Now, this is important because of the fact that if that occurs, even if you land on your buttocks, it can cause, believe it or not, a concussion. We're going to get into that in just a few moments. But again, when you have a balance problem, it's usually caused by decreased strength, coordination, and flexibility. Those are injuries. Those are things that are brought on by injuries. So, but we can increase and we can actually improve all of those. Decreased strength for fibromyalgia patients, obviously because you're inactive. Decreased coordination, especially in the lower limbs if you're not using them, and decreased flexibility. You know, the old adage, if you don't use it, you lose it, is so very, very true. You can take care of each and every one of those regardless of your condition, whether it be fibromyalgia or some other condition. The reason why I say that is that it's like eating an apple one bite at a time. So we're going to get into some exercises to help take care of that very, very quickly here. So balance is off oftentimes because of some history of automobile accidents, head hitting your head, or falls. It throws your brain circuitry off. Matter of fact, it throws the brain circuitry off so that you have a problem not only eyes open but also eyes closed. And this is extremely important when you actually start to reverse this balance problem. Keep in mind, how many people, when they get up late at night, their balance is really off because it's so dark. It's just like having your eyes closed, and they have a higher susceptibility to falls because of that, believe it or not. So you're working with two parts of the brain circuitry here, eyes open and eyes closed. So I just want to mention something because of the fact that you have symptoms from concussion. And there's so many of them. I'm just going to read some of them to you. This is post-concussion syndrome as far as the actual symptoms that you may have. Some can be really subtle, okay? You know, they did a study on babies that were in diapers. And what they do is they put electrodes on throughout their spine all the way up into their brain. And you know how the babies with their diapers, and they kind of get up and, oh, well, boom, and then they fall on their buttocks, okay? Because their balance is off yet. Well, those electrodes actually showed that just by landing on your buttocks, okay, that the fluid within the spine went all the way up and affected the brain when that actually happens. So if you as an adult have that happen where you actually fall on your buttocks, same thing is happening. That fluid in your spinal cord goes all the way up in the brain and adversely affects it. So concussions can be from a variety of different things. Slips, falls, hitting your head. How many people have run into doors and hit heads? As I mentioned to you, you're looking at a phone, you're paying attention, wango, you run right into a door or something. Auto accident, extremely important. So many patients now that they have testing that they can actually do to validate the concussions because of white petechial small spots that show up in the brain literally within 30 days of an accident. Here's some of the most common things after a concussion: lightheadedness, dizziness, neck pain, headaches, photophobia, sensitivity to light, ringing in the ears, impaired memory, forgetfulness, personality changes, easily distracted, impaired comprehension, difficulty with new or abstract thoughts, insomnia, easily fatigable, apathy, outbursts of anger, mood swings, depression, loss of libido. All of those are the most common things that actually occur after post-concussion or after injuries. So when patients come in, especially after an automobile accident, we ask them a number of different questions if they've ever had these. Many of them, they just kind of, oh yeah, I've got that. Did you have it before? No, not that I recall. It's just kind of one of those things that kind of slips by, so to speak. Now, you have certain things within your ear that actually affect balance, and they're called otoliths. They're little crystals in the inner ear. And when you fall or hit your head or whatever, those can be knocked out of place, believe it or not. And so that'll actually throw your actual balance off. And so there's an actual exercise for that. It's called benign postural vertigo, benign postural vertigo, where you actually can get exercises for those to reverse that. If you need to get that information, either look it up. That's called benign postural vertigo. Benign postural vertigo. Look that up, and there's exercises that you can actually do at home. And if you do it, oftentimes that corrects the crystals that are actually in your inner ear that's been knocked out of place. It happens. And so if you've had an accident, oftentimes that simple little thing like that, these exercises can actually take care of it. Benign postural vertigo is what it's called. And you can actually look up exercises, and they will be very, very helpful for you. Now, there's something else. It's called postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, or POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. And the POTS syndrome is where you get up and your blood pressure doesn't get balanced correctly if you get up too quickly. All right, and so you get lightheaded and dizzy and so forth. There are certain symptoms that very, very simple that can help you with that. If you get up too quickly from laying down or sitting, and you seem like you're maybe spinning a little bit or your balance is off, there's a good chance you may have that condition, and there are certain things that you can do to help reverse that. But in the meantime, I've got some real simple exercises for you. And these are through the government. These are to help reduce your imbalances, so to speak, so you don't fall. My goodness, why? There's so many other things that are going on, and you don't want to be falling for no apparent reason just because your balance is off. So the first thing, exercises, is you want to reduce falls. You want to increase your lower body strength, okay? And how you do that is by, believe it or not, just getting out of a chair. Just getting out of a chair will make a big difference for you. But so many of us propel ourselves out of a chair. We use our arm lifts, and we just kind of push up. Try this instead. Slide forward just a little bit at the edge of the chair. Place your hands on your thighs down here, okay? And use your leg muscles and your buttocks to get out of a chair. So it's a little bit like this. So you're getting up like that, using your legs and your buttocks to get yourself up instead of your shoulders and your arms. A lot of people have shoulder and arm problems. They can't even get out of a chair because they can't use their arms, okay? Or if you've been using, say, a walker or a cane, your arms and shoulders are sore already. So why don't you use the bigger muscles? It's important to use bigger muscles rather than the smaller ones in these exercises. So how many times you do that? Well, try a couple times a day. Build yourself up. If you can do one, then try two. Then try three, so forth and so on. All of a sudden, bingo, you're doing half dozen, maybe 10 in no time whatsoever. It's wonderful. It's a subtle exercise that actually strengthens what you need, and that is the lower extremities and without affecting your upper extremities and so forth with that. Walking. You should try to do, look, if you're fibromyalgia, any condition whatsoever, all right, try to get up at least once an hour to start with. And you should try to concentrate on walking or being out of a sitting position for at least 10 minutes a day to start. Okay? Try that. Okay? If it's 5 minutes, great. Okay, 5 minutes. Then go to the next one. Okay, maybe you can go to 6 minutes and then 7 minutes, so forth and so on. Like eating an apple a bite at a time, a bite at a time. Make sure you do that. All right? Try to do some walking every day. Now, the other thing is once you start getting from a sitting to a standing position, okay, then what you got to do is while you're up, you want to do just balances. You hold on to something. Hold on to the kitchen sink or whatever else, all right, and just stay in one position for about 10 feet away. Stay in that position and see if you could just hold that position and then close your eyes and see how that feels, if it makes a difference. Are you weaving back and forth because your eyes, then you probably are having bigger problems with your eyes shut than your eyes open. But you want to try that. Just hold on to a countertop like this, okay? And then what you want to do, standing straight with your feet about shoulder length apart, is you want to just drop one arm off of the counter and then drop the other off, and see if you can stand in one position maybe for 10 seconds without going back and forth, okay? Or going around in circles like this. See if that'll work. All right, and do it with your eyes open, and then do the same thing. Both hands on the counter. Close your eyes. Drop one hand off. Make sure you have good balance. Drop the other hand off and see if you can stand with your eyes closed for about 10, 15, 20 seconds, okay? Again, start out with a little at a time and then keep on increasing the time element in itself. This is that reversal, or as they say, recapturing your balance, okay? Then the last one is called a stork. Hold on to the counter again. Both hands, you keep kitchen counter, sink, whatever else. A sturdy piece of furniture, all right? And what you want to do is, while you're looking straight ahead, about 10, 20 feet straight ahead, you want to raise one leg off the floor. How far? Just so it's off the floor. You know how stork, you know how they stand on one leg, okay? Just hold that one leg up and see if you can do that for 10 seconds. Then try it with your eyes closed. Again, holding out to the counter. When you feel comfortable, then drop one hand off, then drop the other hand off, okay? Try it with one leg up, all right? Then put your feet down. Try it again. Eyes open for 10 seconds with one foot up, and then try it with your eyes closed for about 10 seconds. See how that works. Never try both legs at the same time. That's a joke, of course. But you want to do one time. It's called a stork, okay? And you're holding out of something. Once you get your one leg up, then drop one hand off. Make sure you're balanced. Then drop the other hand off, not too far away. So in case you start losing balance, you grab a hold of something and make sure that you have good stability in that respect. That way you're not doing anything too great. So what did I say? Getting up out of the chair, okay, using your legs and your buttocks and your hands on your thighs. Walking, try to walk 5-10 minutes at a time and try to increase that amount. You want to do just the standing in one position, looking straight ahead, then holding on to a surface, and then drop one hand and then the other. Try with both eyes open, eyes closed, and then called a stork. We're actually standing again, same position. You raise one leg up off the chair, off the ground, and try to hold that position. Drop one hand off the counter, then the other hand. See if you can hold that for 10 seconds. If you can, 5 seconds, 3 seconds, whatever. Every time you add a second, you're actually straightening out and you're correcting your balance problem. So let's say you can only do it for 2 seconds. Boom, you got to put your foot down. But the next time you try it, you're up to 3 seconds. Wow, okay, you increase. And then all of a sudden it's going to go to 5 and then maybe 8 or 10. And say, hey, wow, I'm doing pretty good. Okay, let's try it with eyes closed. Initially, eyes closed. You may not do it maybe just for a second. Keep doing it. Every time your body is going and your brain is restructuring, recapturing its ability for balance. That's the most important thing. Hey, I want to thank you very, very much. This has been number 40, believe it or not. Number 40, 40th presentation. And this one's on balance, which actually goes well with posture that we did last time. So next time, we're going to be working with something that, again, hopefully will be a health problem and a health hint that can help each and every one of you in one form or another. Hope you got something out of this that you can use immediately. I want to thank you very much, Dr. Ken Muich, Stetson Chiropractic Clinic, Fibromyalgia Wellness Center. We're always glad to see your back and other body parts, and we're really enjoying doing this presentation. And I can't thank the individuals that actually listen in and hopefully pick up information. And don't forget, every one of these, all 40 of them, have been saved so that you can check back and see exactly what has been presented over this period of time. Next Monday, 12:30 p.m. Look forward to visiting with you with another wonderful subject. Take care. Everybody have a super week now. Enjoy.